Remember the so-called American Rescue Plan. Democrats passed a $1.9 trillion bill on a party line vote. Less than 9% of that money, by the way, went to combat COVID. But tucked inside that bill was $110 million to FEMA. We would think that's a great thing, right? Well, here's the problem. It wasn't for disaster recovery. It was to fund something they were calling humanitarian assistance. And what that was to help illegal immigrants at the border. That was just the start. Mr. Speaker, they followed it with another $150 million in March of 2022, then $800 million more in December of that year. FEMA was effectively converted into a border response welfare agency, rebranded as the Shelter and Services Program, paying for migrant housing, transportation, and services in sanctuary cities, while American disaster victims waited months just to hear back about their applications. Absolutely shameful. My constituents were patching their roofs, clearing debris by hand. FEMA was off here busy footing the bill for nice hotel stays in New York for folks that weren't even supposed to be in the country. This was a willful effort by the other side to just enable this border crisis. And I got to say, Congressman Knott pointed out how the border is finally secure, and it didn't require a change in law. It simply required a president who would follow the law. So now what do we have going on that things have changed? Well, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle respectfully are not showing up in towns that were damaged by the storm, asking questions of FEMA, looking to go see what's happened. You know who has shown up? Secretary Noem has shown up. President Trump has shown up. Instead, no, some of my colleagues, and I don't know why, have decided they want to go to El Salvador and rub elbows and maybe grab a margarita with some former MS-13 gang members. It looks like it's a delegation face-to-face meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, a known member of MS-13, and that gang is responsible for countless murders, assaults, and human trafficking. Instead of demanding justice, Democrats took selfies. And I know, for example, you all had to prosecute MS-13, Congressman Knott, when you were back prosecuting in the Eastern District of North Carolina. Look, we don't need any more hug-a-thug diplomacy. We need a federal government that puts the American people first, puts their safety first, their livelihoods first, and their families first.